So close to a breakthrough. All I must do is connect the dots.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift. "30 seconds until minions spawn.
Never a dull moment.
Minions have spawned.
The heart of Piltover is its people. Let's wrap this up. Oh, Lordle! How cute! Me miss? Not by a long shot. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I do love a good mystery.
Enemy double kill.
The charges. Hot on the trail. I'm on the job.
An enemy has been slain.
It seems I may have a new suspect. Even the smallest clue can break a case.
An ally has been slain.
You cannot outrun your crimes.
An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Double kill.
I much prefer this to Destiny. Boom! Headshot.
An ally has been slain. Touchdown. Enemy double kill.
I'm back on the case, and this time I will not fail. Someone called for a sheriff? Let's investigate. Perfect practice, precise results. Always maintain a proper chain of command. While I'm gone, won't you?
An ally has been slain.
No matter the situation, good investigator always remains calm. I will not tolerate lawlessness. Let's do this by the book. Brilliant. No stone left unturned. Not so close. Crime is common, logic is rare. I must always be 3 steps ahead. One must never start an investigation without first examining the evidence. Escape. No hesitation.
An ally has been slain.
The Lord bears the near one. Laws mean nothing when they
An ally has been slain. Enemy double kill. Shut down. An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain.
I love a good chase.
An ally has been slain.
A true professional is always aware of his surroundings. I'm not here to serve. I'm here to protect. Let's crack this case wide open. Do not disturb the crime scene until I return. Your turret has been destroyed for tea time. If crime never sleeps, then I for tea. It's my business to know what others do not.
Turret plate will fall soon.
I cannot afford to falter. Never a dull moment. As expected. Fancy tea? The heart of Piltover is its people. Me, miss? Not by a long shot.
An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
I do love a good mystery. In position. hot on the trail. Immaculate.
Has been slain.
Our boundaries aren't so different, Echo. Neither are Piltover and Zon.
An ally has been slain.
I couldn't. I'm on the job. Even the smallest clue can break a case.
Your turret has been destroyed.
I am not Piltover.
Has been
I
slain.
work for its people.
Double kill. An ally has been slain.
I much prefer this to desk duty.
Enemy has been slain.
Okay.
Someone call for a sheriff. Let's investigate.
Your turret has been destroyed.
Pay no attention to the trap. Flurry.
An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
They cannot run from the long arm of the law, nor from the scope of my rifle. Always maintain a proper chain of command. Right where I want you.
Has been slain. Enemy has been slain.
I always aim to win, and my
Your
aim
turret has
is
been
perfect.
destroyed. Your team has destroyed a turret.
no stone left unturned. Stay out of my way. Crime is common, logic is rare. Be good one. One must never start an investigation without first examining the evidence. I must always be 3 steps ahead. Taking aim. Much appreciated. Going somewhere? Do not disturb the crime scene until I return.
Has been slain. Double kill. Slain. An enemy has been slain.
Fail to protect the public.
An ally has been slain. An enemy has been
No
slain.
bends for no one. I love a good chase. A true professional is always aware of her surroundings. I'm not here to serve. I'm here to protect.
An enemy has been slain.
Let's crack this case wide open. Fancy a treat? Drop your weapons. Boom, headshot.
has destroyed a turret.
I never miss. I am not Piltover's dog. I work for its people. No one else. It's my business to know what others do not. I cannot afford to falter.
Has been slain. Your team has destroyed a turret.
I'll be adding that to the charges. Never a dull moment.
Rampage. Shut down.
The heart of Piltover is its people. Nearly miss? Not by a long shot.
Shut down. Enemy has been slain. Shut down.
If time never sleeps, then I best put on another cup of tea. A miss.
An ally has been slain.
Hot on the trail.
slain.
It seems I may have a new suspect. They cannot run from the long arm of the law, nor from the scope of my rifle. I'm on the job. Surrender now. On to the next case.
Your team has destroyed the turret. Your team has destroyed a turret. An ally has been slain. Enemy double kill.
I'm back on the case, and this time I will not fail. I much prefer this to desk duty. Someone called for a sheriff.
An ally has been slain. You have slain an enemy. An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
Such a waste. Be good while I'm gone, won't you? I aim to win. I'll make this quick. Brilliant. Let's investigate.
Enemy has been slain.
Proper chain of command.
Enemy has been slain. Ally has been slain. Enemy double kill. An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain. Your turret has been destroyed.
I'll be adding that to the charges. I will not tolerate lawlessness. Boom! Headshot! Let's do this by the book. No stone left unturned. Do not disturb the... I return.
An ally has been slain. Your turret has been destroyed. Shut down.
As expected. Crime is common. Logic is rare.
Double kill. Your inhibitor has been destroyed. Your turret has been destroyed. An enemy has been slain.
It seems I may have a new son. I must always be 3 steps ahead. The law bends for no one. If time never sleeps, then let's put on another pot of tea. I'm not here to serve. I'm here to protect.
That was fast.
Ace. Your turret has been destroyed. Your inhibitor has respawned.
I'm back on the case. And this time I will not fail. Let's crack this case wide open. To win, and my aim is to have it.
been slain. An ally has been slain. Enemy double kill. An ally has been slain.
Excellent shot.
Your inhibitor has been destroyed. A summoner has disappeared.
I wanted to come at you straight to camera and sort of check in with the team. So comment down below where you're tuning in from, what coins you believe in the most, comment down below. As we head into this pretty big time in cryptocurrency. So I've been in crypto for near 10 years. I've been through multiple bear markets, multiple bull markets, and I believe we are still, to me it's obvious, we are still in a bull market for 3 big reasons. I know we're dipping today. Number 1 out of 3, the Federal Reserve just cut rates.
Today, the Federal Open Market Committee decided to lower our policy interest rate by a 1/4 percentage point.
They had a hawkish hold for 9 months. Not only did they just cut rates, they had very dovish rhetoric, in my opinion, stating that this is going to be a cutting cycle. Meaning, yes, we just got the first cut, but no matter where you think, if you think we're getting a few more rate cuts by the end of this year, let alone 2026, and the market is pricing in, or the market is betting that we will, I think we're going to be in a dovish cycle in 12 months, right? We're getting a new Federal Reserve chair, and I loved what Tom Lee, billionaire investor Tom Lee, just said about this.
This is shared from Carson Research, but they show that whenever the Fed cut near all-time highs, markets had 12-month gains 100% of the time. So I think it's a bullish cut. And again, we're in an easing cycle.
So rates being cut means it's easier for liquidity to come into assets with product market fit, like Bitcoin, like crypto. Number 2, reason why I think we're going much higher is something called the Market Structure Bill. That's happening. It's the Clarity Act that's gonna do exactly what it says, bring clarity. This is the biggest piece of 100% crypto legislation. I almost said financial legislation, but in a way both that we've had in a very long time, especially for crypto. Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase, was in Washington, D.C. recently saying this.
Hey everyone, I'm here in Washington, D.C. again, fighting for your rights to try to get some market structure legislation passed for crypto. This would be foundational, just like we did for stablecoins a few months ago with the Genius Act. Market structure legislation protects all the other non-stablecoin crypto assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum. The Senate is strongly supportive of getting this done. The members that I met with on both sides of the aisle are ready to get this legislation passed, and there's draft text now being exchanged back and forth and with the industry for comment, which is great. We saw a lot of alignment today. Now, of course, this hasn't stopped the big banks from trying to throw a wrench into things, and they're trying to ban rewards on stablecoins. The members of the Senate who I spoke to, they're not going to let that happen. That was already litigated and decided in the Genius Act for stablecoins. They're not going to bring it up again. But barring these little details here and there, I think this thing has a good chance of getting done. I've actually never been more bullish on a market structure getting passed. It's a freight train leaving the station.
And while it's not going to mean price changes instantly the day it passes, but this is the plumbing. This is the infrastructure for crypto for the first time ever in the largest financial market in the world for the next decade plus. And reason number 3 that I think we're going so much higher, before we get into the 5 cryptocurrency investing strategies to get rich, we just have to make sure we're on the same page. But reason number 3, what the SEC just did, if you were subscribed to Altcoin Daily, you saw this. The SEC just approved generic listing standards for ETPs, exchange traded products. We all remember back in 2024 when a Bitcoin ETF, in this case ETP ETF, same thing in this case, when a Bitcoin ETF was approved in 2024 for the first time in crypto history, money came pouring into Bitcoin. Why? Because they finally had easy access, somebody to custody the coins, somebody to handle all the technical part. They just bought the ticker. Ethereum got an ETF. In the long run, we saw what happened to price with Ethereum. None of these other altcoins were able to get approved just because the rules are all messy. Now, generically, if they meet certain criteria, they're in, and we're just starting to see altcoin ETFs go on the market. Now, how do I get rich? Well, these are strategies and tips that I use. Again, I would never speak for you. I would never tell you what to do with your money. This is how I handle my money, my strategy. And rule number 1, maybe this is obvious, they'll get even more better towards the end, but dollar cost average. This is the tried and true method in the traditional market as well for one to do. You are never going to time the market. The best investors in the world cannot time the market. But it's time in the market. It's keeping the money in the market. And again, these are generic sort of things to say, but it's because they work. You're never going to time the exact bottom, just like you're never going to sell the exact top. But what the pros do, and what I do, and I just copy the pros, is what happens in the bear market. The lower we go, the more I buy in. Whether that's $100 a week, pick a number that's best for you, or every time we have a major dip, buy a lot more than just $100 a week. Just like the bear market, my strategy in a bull market, who knows when we'll top. And side note on this first tip, this is a good side note. Bull markets end. We're in a bull market right now, I believe. It will end. Nobody knows when it will end, so the minute it ends, things change, liquidity dries up. So be prepared for that, because it'll happen. And also, bull markets last so much longer. Two things to keep in mind, sort of opposites, but they both hold true to me. How I'm going to take profits, I'm not going to try and time the market. As we go higher, I set a plan at the beginning. I have a strategy, I have rules. When it gets to a certain price, I'm going to dollar cost average out. At least take out my principal, so I'm only playing with the house of money for always keeping a moon bag. Because if we are in a super cycle, and this is parabolic, you don't want to be all the way out of the market. So DCA in, DCA out. To me, if I had to give an analogy, it's like planting seeds. Some days, the soil is going to be a little more expensive to plant those seeds. Some days the soil, relatively speaking, is going to be cheap. You'll feel good about planting seeds. But in the long run, it's just about harvesting the most crops. It's about growing a garden using DCA. Cryptocurrency investing tip number 2, and then we're getting to the big one. So number 2, and this is one that I've made mistakes so many times with this, is take emotion out of investing. Invest with discipline, not emotion. It seems so obvious, but every so often I have to remind myself of this. And what I mean, let me give you an example, like we do on Altcoin, that's what we subscribe. Is often when the markets feel the most euphoric, the masses get a sense of FOMO and missing out, and they rush in. That's really the time to be selling, just like when markets crash. When there's blood in the streets, markets are low, people are screaming they're so much lower. That's really the time you should be taking out your positions, dollar cost averaging. And if you've been with Altcoin Daily for a long time, you remember us in 2018, 2019, horrible bear markets, us bringing you the headlines, me and my brother saying, well, the fundamentals haven't changed. Price has gone down, but the fundamentals are actually getting better. Or more specifically, in 2022, FTX, the second largest exchange at the time on Earth in terms of global liquidity, collapsed. Bitcoin dropped to $15,000. People were screaming, we're going to $11,000. Why would you buy? We're going lower. We're going sub 10, some people were saying. Nobody knew. But really, that's the time you dollar cost average in betting on the long term. And to compare that to a top of market, we remember the top of 2021. Bored Ape, there was Paris Hilton on Jimmy Fallon showing off her Bored Ape. A lot of top signals of the time, people screaming so much higher. Nobody knew. I thought we were going to 100K back then. Nobody knew. But again, have a plan, DCA out, just like you DCA in. Now with emotion, with your plan from the start. Tip number 3. Now this is my favorite tip for a beginner, and this took me a while to get, but once I did, light bulb moment in my head. Understand market cap versus price, and invest in something based on market cap, not price. And let me give you an example. Let's look at Shiba Inu, meme coin, SHIB. You can put $100 in, and man, you can get a lot. It feels like you're getting a lot of that coin. And for comparison, just because the price is so different, we can look at BitTensor Tau, blue chip AI altcoin, and you see the price is so high. You're putting money in, $100 in. Are you even getting a whole coin? It feels much better owning a lot of something. But then you look at market cap, and you see, okay, the market cap, and I'm guessing here, but the market cap of BitTensor, I think it's $3.5 billion, and the market cap of Shiba around $7 billion. Now, what does that mean? That's the value of the addressable market, the coins in circulation and the price they trade at. And that essentially means it would take, you can put half the amount of big whales, you can put half the amount of money would have to go into BitTensor to double the price. Double the amount of money globally that would go into SHIB to just keep on path with what BitTensor is. I hope that makes sense. So price can be man-made. Just because it feels good to buy a lot of something doesn't mean one doesn't have more potential upside, one doesn't have more scarcity, more actual users on the network. It's about fundamentals. But also understand market cap to know where a coin could go. Because with Bitcoin, for example, it's around a $2.2 to $2.2 trillion market cap. How far could it go? Well, it's like gold. It has the same properties of gold. It's digital. It's a better gold, in my opinion. And that means you can compare it to the market cap of gold, which is over 20 trillion. And we know Bitcoin, I believe, in the long run has that 10x potential because the market cap helps us understand the potential of this thing. We wouldn't compare Bitcoin with market cap of Amazon because they're totally different. They're doing two different things. So just understand that market cap over price. If you're getting value in today's video, make sure you send this video to a friend. You do not want to get rich alone, and these are, in my opinion, tried and true methods. We're just doing well in investing, bringing us to investing tips to get rich in cryptocurrency for beginners in 2026. Again, obvious, but most people will make this mistake, and it's simply you. It's simply you if you subscribe to Altcoin Daily. Do not invest more than you are willing to lose. Because that's when you get emotional. That's when you get desperate. That you're over leveraged. You spent money, you need it for rent, where everybody said it would go up. But you're trying to spend that on food or travel or whatever it is. There is no trade. Cryptocurrency is the most volatile market in the world, which we love. We love that upside. That's why we're all in one. We like the volatility. But you got to be able to handle the downside, so do not invest any money that you're using for rent, food, anything that you need to live. And also, if you're just starting, 1 to 5% of your investing portfolio into crypto. Now, I'm near 100%, but I do this every day. Altcoin Daily drops a video every single day. That's why you subscribe, to get in tune with the market. So this is my world. I'm willing to take the risk, but even for me, it's not money. If I lost everything, all of Crypto went to zero, I wouldn't be out on the street. So just never invest more than you're willing to lose. But cryptocurrency tip number 5 is, you could say this is cliche, but invest in yourself, meaning we'll learn more every day. For perspective, if you could teleport back to 1996, early internet days, just knowing that the internet is going to be around, it's actually changing the entire world we live in, but not knowing anything else, would you do anything differently if you were alive back then? I think you would. I would, for sure. I would get in the trenches. I would learn as much as I possibly could. I would read the forums, go to the meetups, watch as many interviews from experts as we can. We've interviewed a couple experts on this channel, and we're going to continue to. But you would immerse yourself, understanding this is a revolution and you just want an edge. I want an edge. So while you may invest in a stock, a coin, anything, and you may regret that, that's investing, you will never regret learning more every day. I'm talking free content. I'm not talking 95% of content you need. It's all free out there. I'm talking Altcoin Daily. I would literally go to the people I'm subscribed to, Altcoin Daily, people I subscribe to, on YouTube. I think that's public. It should be. Or X. That is 100% public. And just follow the people I follow. I'm not saying they're the best. I'm saying that they're experts in their field. I even like to follow people I don't necessarily agree with. People that hate crypto, people that are pure Ethereum, people that are pure Bitcoin maximalists, whatever. Just there's so many different perspectives, because I know this is the first inning. Maybe you could say it's the second and third inning, 9 innings of this cryptocurrency revolution, and I'm not going to miss out. I'm going to learn more every day. That's tip number 5. My name's Austin. Click the like button.
An ally has been slain.
Happy.
A voice whispers in the shadows.
For the first time in 2025, the Fed has cut interest rates, and we've seen mixed results in the markets. Bitcoin rallying, dumping, and then rallying again, but still underneath resistance levels. The S&P 500 running up on the rumor, selling off on the news, but that seems to be short term. And we're potentially seeing the end, or running into the peak of the real estate cycle, and those signs that we're about to see things turn to the downside. Now, it's not the end of the world just yet. We're still seeing the dollar hanging in there, the crypto market running up to fresh highs, and as we've been pointing out on the channel, warning of these runaway moves, these blow-off tops. And I think it's important to watch these blow-off tops, as they call them, before the blow-off top happens. We want to be in the market before the market blows up into its final peak. So without further ado, you know the deal. Hit the like button. Thanks very much for the support on the previous videos. And of course, if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. Heaps to get through with a big update on the 18-year cycle. But first up, let's start with Bitcoin after the interest rate announcement from the Fed, cutting interest rates 0.25%, now targeting between 4 and 4.25%. The market expects further cuts this year. You can see with the Fed Watch tool, they're expecting in the next meeting, end of October, another 6 weeks away, nearly 88% of the market is expecting another cut, and then by December, another cut. And we've seen this same playbook happen before, where the market expects cuts and then rallies, runs back up towards a no cut. So there is one. I think people were hopeful that there was going to be a 0.5% cut, but the Fed, Jerome Powell, is still interested in inflation that's sticking around and wants to see how these things play out. But I don't think the market is too concerned with that. And when I say market, we're looking at the traditional markets, the S&P, the Bitcoin market, and of course the rest of the US markets as well. They've all been seeing higher prices. Now the short-term levels are $118,000. This post that I put up on X, link to this is in the video description, along with Instagram, X, and the official links down there. I don't want people to follow the wrong accounts, so use those at your will. 120 grand was the key level that we're watching for. You can see here on the side, 120, because that would put us above the interest rate announcement of the announcement. That was on the 22nd of August, this bar right here. And you can see right now, the prices have not gone past that top. So essentially, what this means to me is the market heard about an interest rate cut on this day. The day before, it was going to be no cut. Then the following day, 22nd, Jerome Powell says, look, things have changed. We need to cut interest rates. And basically, Bitcoin rallied right up to $117,400. And I think it's prudent now that we haven't been able to see the break of that high, even though the news has come out. Now, I don't think this is a major catalyst for the end of the cycle. As I've been saying the entire time, it seems like there is still further upside based on cycle analysis, based on sentiment analysis, based on price analysis, and of course time analysis, which works in with the cycle analysis as well. Timing, I'm talking about days, weeks, month counts, as we'll look at just a little later in the video, along with some altcoins as well, as altcoins have been doing very, very well over the last 24 hours, and of course the last couple of months, but more importantly the last 24 hours with that interest rate cut. So that level is the 120. You can see all these previous highs coming in, and then we had the 118 level. Interest rate news, that was the day, as I said, Jerome Powell says cut, and we haven't seen a rally back to that point yet. The interesting part next is, should we keep going sideways or maybe have a bit of a pullback, as we've been talking about with a couple of the weekly bar signals, the 3 red weeks and the 3 lower highs, lower lows as well. Even if there is a small pullback here, a breakout of a double top, you can see on the daily chart, there is a top, significant in my opinion, based on what I've been talking about, and again, significant here because this is the day that the interest rate announcements came out. If we're able to break through that level, a break of the double top is a pretty good signal in itself. This meaning that it should be a down move. So if that doesn't happen, and we get a break above and some closes above, then that's a signal in itself to suggest that the bears are losing bad and the bulls are about to take control, which is why I talk about the significant move to the upside I think is brewing, even if we were to see a pullback. Now, starting with those pullbacks, or looking at those pullbacks, if it were to happen, there is still a support level of roughly $112,000, the previous low here, the swing low. There is roughly around $113,500. So between the 112 and the 114 as a round number, any sort of pullback to that level is still bullish. Short term, it could bounce off that, and then we come back to take out those highs. And the other pattern people may be looking at is basically your short term here, cup and handle. That's what I'll be seeing here. Mostly looking at the double top pullback, and then ideally a breakout. That breakout would also, for Bitcoin, would also take us above the 117 and the 117 and a half, which continues to climb here. And that's the 7-year resistance level, this white diagonal you can see in the background. That's from the high of 2017, 2021. It's rejected, or the market's been rejected off that level twice this cycle, 2024 and 2025, and attempted it once. Stayed above it for a few weeks, but at the moment it's still trading beneath that level. You can see how close everything is coming to that level, as I'm calling it quite a significant resistance area. So we have the double top, we have the 7-year resistance, we have the $120,000 just above that high as well, and it still isn't able to collapse from this point. So that's why I'm still quite bullish on the whole setup, even if there is a short-term pullback here to the $112,000, $113,000, $114,000 level, and then a climb higher. On the flip side, if it remains here and breaks to that high, which is still a bullish sign, I think it's just got even more strength in those legs for Bitcoin in the short term. Now, the cycles that we've been following, the 5 and the 10-year for Bitcoin, the reason being is that these are strong cycles that Gann referred to. Legendary trader, died 1955. It was around in the early 1900s that put together a lot of very specific and helpful rules that we use for our trading and investing. He talks a lot about 5 and 10 years but more importantly 20s, 60s, long-term cycles that have major impacts on the movements of the markets. This has gone back over hundreds of years across commodities, stock markets, stocks of course, and they continue to repeat time and time again. So the reason being I'm using 5 and 10 years here as a composite is because of what Gann has taught us. You can see the red line in the background is 2020 and 2015. The blue line is the current market action. Now, if you've seen this before, hit the like button, of course, but look at the movement to the upside that these cycles are anticipating. We can know if this is not going to work out, and then we'll have to adjust, but just so we're following at the moment as to the current cycles, which is what's been happening for 2025 so far, there is some pretty good signs that October should have a relatively good rally here. November is still up, has a few more pullbacks, and in December also has a few pullbacks there before getting going again. Now, I'm not saying that it has to happen exactly the same, we're just following the pattern itself. It doesn't mean it has to go up the same amount of in terms of percentages, but the trend is up for this Q4. Now, some alts are running into new all-time highs as I'm filming the video, so I'll get to those, but we want to look at the interest rates and Bitcoin, basically historical patterns here, going back to Bitcoin's birth in 2009, and the blue line is the interest rates. So we've just seen a cut in the interest rates. And throughout its history, the simple thing I can see here is Bitcoin basically running up. That's a major bear market, another major bear market, and another major bear market. And you can see with the interest rates were flat. Bitcoin still ran up and then it had a bear market. Now, the next cycle basically begun as interest rates were starting to pick up here, so it's still around zero, and Bitcoin ran up into a new all-time high, big bull market, interest rates were going up. The bear market happened, interest rates were still going up, and then there's the next bull market. So consolidation, interest rates going down, interest rates back to zero, and then they started to go up at one of the fastest rates we've ever seen in history, of course. Then they paused and started to come down, and now we're seeing Bitcoin climb yet again. So through all of this, the moral of the story is Bitcoin can go up no matter if interest rates are paused, no matter if they are going up, and no matter if they are going down. I think it comes down to the time in the cycle, where we sit within that cycle. And as a quick reference, we are now 34 months into this cycle. Bitcoin load and the total crypto market cap load in November of 2022. We're over 2.5 years, coming up to 3 years from the load. And should we keep going into some sort of similar pattern to prior cycles, the prior cycles were between 35 and 37 months, which takes us to an extreme of roughly around December of this year in 2025. So as we've been following, October I think is a very important date to be watching for cryptos, altcoins, and of course Bitcoin as well. Should we only see a minor pullback and then the next leg into potentially late Q4, maybe even January of 2026, they would be some pretty important time points to watch for this cycle as it continues to run pretty similar to prior cycles. So that's the note I wanted to make when it comes to interest rates, just in case we see a few of these interest rates come down as the market's expecting, and then somewhere towards the end of the cycle they have to rise again because of inflation. You know, Bitcoin can basically go up, down, and sideways, no matter whether the interest rates are going up, down, or sideways as well. And speaking of cycles going up, down, and sideways with interest rates, the real estate cycle has been going up, continuing higher, as interest rates have also been going higher. And this was the absolute opposite to what the majority of the market believed back in 2022 and 2023. With these huge interest rates rises, they believed that home prices and the stock market would have to collapse. And that's not how the cycle works. We talked about this on X, we talked about it on YouTube, but of course we were very much the minority at that time because most people believed that there was not going to be enough money floating around for the markets to go up. And we've seen them go up. Now we're getting towards the peak of this cycle and we're starting to see a lot more excitement coming back into the markets. We've also seen gold hit new all-time highs. However, it did get rejected after the interest rate announcement. So we've seen that. We've got a all-time high today, but it has closed lower. So maybe this is just that start of things starting to swing back into more risk-on assets like stocks and Bitcoin and altcoins. And a similar sort of thing here with silver. We've got to a new 14-year high, but it did also pull back on the daily chart after that interest rate announcement. So we've got the all-time high on Tuesday and then a pullback here on Wednesday. So an important one to keep watching just to see how this plays out, whether we do get this final push in the stocks, risk on, while metals just take a little bit of a breather. But I definitely don't think that this cycle is over. I think there is still further to go, which is why we are discussing this with our members in TIA Premium, and it's still part of our portfolios as well. If you want to learn more about that, link of course is in the top of the video description, along with how we're navigating the end of the cycle into the peak and then into what we think is going to happen in those next 3 to 4 years into that collapse. Now, in terms of market sentiment for the stock market, things are still relatively stable. It's basically grinding between neutral and greed. I think that's a great sign for where we sit in this cycle and where the price currently sits at new all-time high prices over the last couple of days. The market is still somewhat not sure, especially when you look at the AAA Investor Sentiment Survey. We've got a new report coming out probably in the next day or so, where we can see what the members are feeling. And at the moment, from last week, they were feeling much more bearish. You can see half of them bearish, 28% of them bullish, and the others undecided, even though the market is at all-time high prices. And you can see it week after week, the bears continue to lead the charge. Most people being absolutely bearish on the markets, even though they continue to climb higher day after day. And you can kind of see it with the CNN business survey as well. You're tracking between mostly neutral here, some greed, and then very few days of extreme greed before it drops back into neutral. Meanwhile, the stock market is quite higher. And that was just sort of an image that I had here of the rumor and news event where Jerome Powell talked about the interest rates most likely getting cut there on the 22nd, as I showed with Bitcoin earlier in the video. The markets run up, and then as we're talking about the interest rate announcement, the market sold off, closed the gap. Let's move that over so you can see. Closed the gap of the futures rollover chart, and now it's climbing higher again in the after hours market. So quite a big day, even though it's just opened in the after hours market. We get to the fifth session where basically all of that volume comes in. So it's still moving at this point in time. And a nice one here from Seth, looking at what happens to the S&P 500 when the Fed cuts. When the Fed cuts, when within 1% new all-time highs. The S&P 500 within 1% of a new all-time high, Fed cuts. What happens 1 year later? Well, there you go. 100% of the time, the stock market has been up 12 months later. So not to confuse things here with the 18-year US real estate and economic cycle, this can top now in the next 6 months, maybe within the next 12 months. As it says at the peak there, roughly around 2025, 2026, it's at 14 years up. Therefore, we're not trying to pick the top date or week, not even month. It's around this period here. And if we think that's going to happen for the US real estate and economic cycle, that's when we start to just lower our debts and just get ourselves into a good position. Maybe start to take a few profits here and there in case of where we think the cycle is going next. So that doesn't mean that the stock market is going to collapse when the US real estate cycle peaks. The stock market can keep running. And I think that's what's going to happen. As I've pointed out several times with some of the forecasts that I've posted about years prior. In this case, this was one in December, January of this year, so December 24, January 25. Basically a few points off this target now. So I posted SPX will close higher for the year, at least 6,700, or hit at least 6,700 in 2025. And 2 days ago, we hit 6,696 and 3/4. So 3 1/4 off that. I suspect it's going to get there for this cycle, especially with there being more time for the stock market to head higher. 18-year cycle update, as I alluded to in the intro, we've seen a pullback at the moment. Going to be a big one that we keep following, especially with our members, to position ourselves for the cycle and our portfolios. This one has been a good canary in the coal mine for us. Tops 2006, so the Home Builders ETF. It topped in mid-2006. The S&P 500 then topped about 18 months later. Meanwhile, the home builders were down 56%. So could we be forming something similar to that this time? That's what we're watching out next. And within that cycle, the US dollar also continues to fall. We're seeing a new, fresh 3.5-year low. That's been the view and our position for years. Since this peak here in September 2022, which I again posted about on X and talked about on YouTube, that the second half of the cycle sees the US dollar fall, and that's what we've seen so far. Even if we get this continued, I think, distribution at this point, I think we'll likely see further downside for the US dollar over the coming months, if not years as well. Should this be a short-term double bottom? I'm watching for a rally to around 98. So let's keep watching that as the dollar happened to rise with the interest rate cut. Normally people would expect the opposite, investors would expect the opposite, but we saw just a short-term rally here on that. Now, Bitcoin, altcoins and cryptocurrencies, the sentiment still sits around neutral. Not a bad thing. As we've been talking about, looking at the markets resetting, and the neutrality of the sentiment has been running now for a month, or over a month. 20th of August, currently 18th of September, barely a touch above, 55-ish, touching green a couple of times, maybe a day or two in here, but the majority of the time you can see just how balanced the sentiment has been over this period, and the interest in trading has continued to hang around here with the exchange volume, 7-day moving average sitting around $57 billion as of today, and still above the lows of 12 months ago. The lows were around 28, 30 billion, so we're basically double that at this point. And we're also seeing that with the interest in the search volume for crypto and Bitcoin. Bitcoin at 35, crypto at 19, 90 days ago, similar-ish levels. It looks like it wants to bounce a touch here. And 12 months ago, for Bitcoin and crypto, as we were talking about, you can see 13 and 30, and now we're at 15 and 27. So roughly, slightly under those, but still relatively stable, all things considered, especially as we see the prices continue to rise here for the crypto market, the total crypto market cap, and some of the majors that we'll have a look at as well. I think we're still in this very late stage of the cycle, as we've been pointing out, based on cycle analysis, timing, and market sentiment overall. Short-term sentiment seems to be resetting, which is a good position for the cycle to keep running. But in terms of the length of time from the low, so being 34 months into the cycle already, I think it's just about being cautious and trading with your stocks in place, understanding where the market is at long term. Now, the next charts that are important to this stage would be the USDT dominance. You can see that has fallen as well. We want to see the dominance continue to fall. This has been the main player that we've been watching to see some of that liquidity come back into Bitcoin cryptos. This to go down means less dominance for stablecoins, more dominance for Bitcoin, more dominance for ETH, more dominance for the altcoins as well. Now, if we combine the two, USDT and USDC, again, getting very close to that support line. And that support line, something that I've had on the chart here, going back to the 2019 lows and the 2021 lows. So just looking at a monthly chart, just hones it in just that little bit tighter. Breakdown of roughly 5%. I think you're going to see some pretty big moves there for alts and Bitcoin, and same sort of thing on USDT dominance. The breakdown of 3.7% is that key level that we want to see for a huge market hopium, blow off top style of event. Everyone thinking that this time is different and the market is just going to keep pumping and running indefinitely. The total crypto market cap 3, so this is total 3, excluding Bitcoin and ETH, is climbing again this week, getting very close to another new all-time high price. It's only a touch off 0.01 whatever off that new all-time high price, and it is being led by none other than Solana and Hype being two of the big movers over the last couple of weeks, pushing the prices up higher here. A breakout, we've been watching for resistance levels somewhere around the 1.3, 1.4, and then we're watching around 1.6 trillion based on previous movements that the altcoin market cap has done. 500 billion move to the upside, 700 billion move to the upside. In both cases, 150% from those lows to the tops, lows to the tops. And again, we're measuring low to the top, 150%. There it is, roughly around 1.65 trillion. So we'll see if we can get another $1 trillion into the crypto market cap and get some sort of altcoin feel like what we had back in 2021. Most likely going to be led by ETH, Sol, and a couple of the other majors there. ETH is actually holding on relatively well. The consolidation continues between $4,000 and $4,900. We had a push higher above the short-term 50%. We moved lower and basically a nice grinding move here. So it hasn't been as weak yet as what I've been looking for. We'll get that confirmation if it breaks down from this. So watching that low there at about 4,060 and see whether we do get this 20 to 30 odd % correction. So far it's only been a 15% correction. 20% takes us to about $3,950, and a 30% correction takes us back to roughly around these lows here at about $3,450. So it's still holding up very, very well at $4,600 for Solana, now hitting 245. It's on the move again. Last week was a pretty big week here. We are also watching the total number of weeks to the upside because of historical movements here for Solana. We look at a bar count on the weekly chart. It's at 6 weeks. If this breaks last week's high, which was at $249.68, we get $250 this week for Solana. It will then be at 7 weeks in a row to the upside. Higher highs, higher lows. Not looking at red bars, just the actual price action.
There's a couple of big tailwinds now, which lead me to think that there's a good chance Bitcoin could be at